right, welcome back everybody to another new episode of A Whole New World, where we're here to put a spotlight on positive things happening in the community and developing that positive mindset. As always, we love to start off every episode with a dad joke, so without any further ado, drum roll please. Why can't the sailor say his ABCs? Because he keeps getting lost at sea. Yes, that's a good one. So today's episode is dedicated to loving yourself. So a little bit behind this, and this is a very important concept for me, because from to give you guys a little bit of background, I really truly believe that you cannot be happy until you learn how to love yourself and appreciate your gifts, your talents. And I come from a place hated my life. I did not love who I was as a person growing up, and I was seeking my validation through external things, and so a lot of this kind of built up and culminated in when I was a sophomore in high school. I ended up trying to commit suicide, and so obviously I didn't go all the way through with it. So y'all, and that's a very dark rate. And I had looked up, suicide is one of the 10th leading causes of death in the U.S. And that's a sad statistic. And so this whole idea of mental health and treating and loving yourself, I really take personally into heart. And so I hope if you're listening out there that you take it to heart as well. But what I said earlier, I really do believe that you can't get any validation. You can't be happy if you're unhappy with yourself. It doesn't matter. My parents gave me a lot. It was nothing my parents did. It was just how I viewed the world, and I was comparing myself to other people. And there's no comparison for you. And so, before I get into the reasons for doing that, like the way I got out of it, is I just started telling myself, every day, and I would say it to myself, is, man, you're worth it. You are amazing. And it was that daily, constant, positive affirmations that I was giving myself that really helped me to turn things around. So we'll dive more into some other ways that I think you can help build that. But why in the world should we want to love ourselves? I was sitting here and thinking, like, there's a number of different reasons. And the first reason that came to my mind was that, people want to be around other people that love themselves. You want to be there for people, but you don't want to be constantly putting them back together. And, everybody goes through tough times, and it's important to know that you have people and a support system there for you. But people also want to know that you are self-sufficient and you're not dependent on them for your happiness. That can get tiring on them, and that's not a fair pressure to put on anybody else. Other thing that came to my mind was that you generally, when you start to love yourself more, you start to make better decisions. Again, I'm basing this off of my experience, my expectations, but my experience. I wasn't making good choices. I decided I was going to drink more. I wasn't taking care of my body, and listed in a number of different things that I was doing just not to take care of myself. But once I started to positively affirm myself, and I started to say, okay, you know what? I really don't look that bad, but you know what I can do is I can start going to the gym and work towards some different things, and that's part of the reason why I love going to the gym is because it's one, it's a release for me, and two, I just feel a lot better. And when you accomplish something, you accomplish, like, you're able to lift something new. Lift something new. You're able to increase the weight that you can lift. It gives me the sense of accomplishment and, like, yeah, I did that. And so, which leads me to another thing is, you set more goals for yourself. Before I was going through and, I was just kind of aimlessly wandering around, so to say, with life. I had no real direction, and it was tough. I didn't really see the point. But once I started to find positives within myself, then I was like, okay, that's cool. And I had a lot going for me. I was gonna say I was intelligent. I still am intelligent. I'm intelligent. I was really good at music. I got a scholarship to go to school. I had a good friend system. My parents cared about me. Both my parents are still together. I mean, there are any number of things that I had that were real good for me at the time. And so, my wife is over here in the corner, and she's saying that I was also extremely good looking. High school me wasn't very good looking, so I was goofy looking, to say the least. But again, you can see my self-talk
totally
back from back there, yeah. So, but it sounds silly, but when you're positively affirming yourself, you're more likely to take better care of yourself, make better decisions that will lead you down a path that you want to go to. So, you know what? And once you start developing a better self-image, you're a bit more confident. And you know what? That translates into other things, whether it's school, work, sports. When you're confident in yourself and who you are as a person, then other things, good things, start to happen and follow because you're more confident in who you are. You start to learn more about yourself. You learn, you decide your values. What are you worth? Nobody can put a price on how much you're worth other than you. And I'm here to tell you, well, nobody can, but I can. You're invaluable. No price could ever pay for you. And so when you start to realize that, then you're a lot more confident. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, and you can acknowledge and that other people have talents that maybe you don't have, and it's not intimidating whatsoever. So, and to go along with that, when you understand who you are, you know your values, what you stand for, then it's a whole lot easier to communicate. And this, for me, translated into dating. Dating became a lot easier. I did not date until I was in college, and because of that fact, I thought I was a loser. Nobody wanted me, but that wasn't the case. I just didn't know who I was, and I didn't have that confidence factor because that is possibly my one piece of dating advice would be to just be confident and be yourself. If they don't like it, tough. I mean, it took me a while to get over that and to get past what other people think. But once I did that, man, it was smooth sailing. Well, I wouldn't say smooth sailing. There were some rough patches, but dating and other things just started to come easier because I wasn't as concerned about what other people thought about me. I was enjoying life. I was happier. And so, but all of that's coming from that confidence and me rebuilding and building myself up. And so, you start to realize also that when something bad happens, it's not the end of the world, And so, I used to be, one bad thing would happen and then the rest of my day was trash. Now it takes quite a few different things before I can sit there and be like, oh, game over. And I'm talking something as silly as like I stubbed my toe. The rest of my day was gone. Like it didn't matter. I was in a bad mood. Now I'm like, oh well, I guess I'll move this. I'll have the opportunity to rearrange my furniture, and so it's just a different outlook on life. Um, and I was also the type of person that I would blame myself for other people not liking me when in fact that's not my problem. That they didn't like me because of who I was. And so when you start to develop that positive self-image, you begin to accept that people just aren't going to like you, and that's okay. Now, I do accept blame when it is my fault. I accept 100% ownership for my mistakes, my faults. But I also understand that some people just doesn't matter what I'm gonna do, they're never gonna they're never gonna like me. So, and those are just a couple of things that I've gone through and some of the benefits that I've seen. And we have a comment
from Mr. Luke, famous
from
Luke.
Mr. Schmidt. Luke.
Yes, we love Luke. He says, "I admire you, Jacob. I'm constantly learning from and being challenged by you." Well, go back to school.
I really appreciate that, Luke, and for shouting out. And Luke, you encourage me to be a better person. Your selflessness. So thank you for doing that shout out, man. I really appreciate that. And so, and see, you start to see so many better things, so much more positivity. The world is a less darker place. I was reading before this that generally when you have a positive self-relationship, life just seems easier. If you've ever sat there and felt like, man, life is just hard. And it's just one of those things that, like, it's really hard to explain, for me to explain. Probably because I don't have the vernacular for that. But
what does that mean? Did you just create
wording.
That word?
I think so, probably. So I don't have the words to describe that, but it was, it's a hard feeling to describe, but life does seem easier. And so I'm not the same person that I was in high school. Like if you would have met me in high school and met me today, you would not have believed that I am the same person. One, I don't look the same. Two, high school I was very reserved and quiet. Now I'm more outgoing. I mean, I'm on a podcast talking to y'all right now. So, but when you're going through and you are building that relationship with yourself and you're building yourself up, you got to decide what does positive me look like? Am I going to be outgoing? Do I want to be outgoing? And if you don't, that's perfectly okay. I think we get with social media, we all feel this pressure, or at least I do, to be a certain way and to act a certain way, look a certain way. But you know what? That's okay. You don't like going to the gym and you're happy being bigger. Okay, cool. I mean, do you? And if you decide you want to change, make a change. If you'd rather be introverted, that's fine. Just because you're quiet or you're staying inside, that doesn't mean that you're not self-confident. But I think the whole point, though, that I'm trying to make is that you need to spend time and build yourself up. If you're in a relationship and things aren't going well, I mean, really look at yourself. Are you the one that's sabotaging it? Because I know I've been that person in many different instances. You're not where you are in dating. What can you do to improve? And when you put 100% of it back on you, things start to change. And I've noticed this in my own life, and it doesn't have to be big changes that you make. Just small incremental daily things add up. I just recently read a book called The Compound Effect, which if you have not, I highly recommend you read. It is a phenomenal book, and it talks about the impact doing small things, small good things, consistently, daily. How they build up and they can alter your life. Now, in the book, they talk about the option to whether you take $3 million or get a penny a day, or get a penny that doubles every day. Now, I'm gonna spoil it for you. If you take the penny that doubles every day, by day 30, you have $5.3 million, and that's more than the money that you get with just taking the $3 million. Now, the tough part about that, and the struggle that I face too, is that you don't see it. You don't see that you have more, or you don't see those results until later. You don't know that you have $5.3 million until day 30.
Stick with it.
So you must stick with it. And that's so tough, and especially my wife and I are both on our weight loss journeys, and sometimes you look in the mirror and you're like, my body doesn't look like it's changed at all, and the number on the scale is not reflecting it, and it gets frustrating and you want to give up. But what you got to remember is that you keep doing those, going to the gym and eating better. It's going to add up, and you will have visible results. It might not be super visible at first, but you will. Maybe it's something like, oh, these pants fit a little bit better. Oh, this shirt looks better on me. My face looks thinner. Things like that. The little things that you got to look for to be like, wow, I'm making progress, and you can't give up. And
Can't stop, won't stop.
yeah, did you say we have another?
Luke said it was difficult. It's difficult to imagine you as reserved and self-conscious. I said the
Yes.
same thing. I never known you to be reserved and
Yeah.
self-conscious.
For those of you who did not hear, my wife is she's reading the Facebook comments for us today.
So send them in.
And so she said that it's hard for people now to imagine me as reserved and quiet. So 100%, it's a complete 180. So, but I brought up about the compound effect and the importance of just doing small things daily, because I think we can get caught up in, I need to make a big change and I want to lose 25 pounds in a month. Okay. It is doable, but you have to, you have to put in the work to do it. And to make a big change like that requires a big amount of work. And most of us, or I would imagine, because I know I myself can't, but we can't do that. And so it's easier to start with smaller things and let those kind of build up and develop those into habits. So one thing that I talked about to help build you up already is to have those positive affirmations. So for me, it was, waking up and just telling myself, if I did stub my toe, today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a great day. Some days I said it sarcastically, but I still said it, and the fact that I was hearing it over and over and over, my day ended up being great. I loved my day. But it doesn't just happen one day. You keep doing that, and then eventually you'll start to notice that when you wake up in the morning, you're a little bit happier. And then next thing you know, oh, I'm looking forward to Mondays. What's going to happen this Monday? Something crazy like that. So, but the key is to be consistent in whatever you choose. So I'm going to give you a couple more options. On the show, we have talked about gratitude, and starting a gratitude journal is a great way to start to see things in a more positive light. Be grateful for one thing a day. It doesn't have to be anything like extravagant. I'm just grateful that I woke up this morning. I'm grateful that I had a warm bed to sleep in. You pick what you want and you just write it down. If you want to do more than one, that's up to you. But the trick is to do it consistently. Journaling. do a daily journal. It doesn't have to be about gratitude, but you can journal about your feelings, your emotions, what was going on, things that you can do to fix problems, or just write about your problems, whichever. I mean, get it out. A lot of times that it's, for me, I don't like to keep things in, and so journaling is a good way. I write it, tear it out of the journal, ball it up, and I throw it away. So, and so those are just a couple of things that I suggest starting with daily. And of course, if you were like me and you've reached a point where you're actually thinking about suicide, or I highly encourage you to go seek a friend, seek professional assistance, because friends are good, but sometimes we need people who are more equipped to deal with those emotions and have skills and strategies that they can teach us. Because sometimes our friends, they want to help us, but they don't have those things. So, and there's no shame in going to see a counselor, because my wife and we did it before we got married, and so I don't regret it at all. And just because you go see a counselor, you're using a tool. That's how I look at it. It doesn't mean you're any less of a person. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need some tools to help you get through what you're going through right now. And you know what? I don't want to say again, you are very important. You are invaluable. Okay? You are valuable. Okay? So take those steps and reach out to somebody, please. So again, to recap, for those, some daily strategies that you can use that I'm giving you that have worked for me, you can start a gratitude journal, write in that daily, positive affirmations daily, and that can be something where you put it on your mirror and you say you're beautiful, your whatever it is you want to improve on in your self-image and your self-talk. That's what you should put up and what you should repeat daily. And then, of course, just journaling daily. So, y'all, I want to thank you guys all for listening and tuning in. I do want to encourage you guys to, in the comments, share your own personal story, if you're willing, of maybe a time that you had some negative self-talk and that you overcame that. What did you do? Because we help each other by sharing our own stories. And so I hope that by me sharing a little bit more about me and some of the things that I went through and some things that I've done has encouraged you maybe to pick up a new daily habit or to be a better person. And you never know what impact your story is going to have on somebody. So I'm going to leave you all with this today. And don't be afraid. No, because before the show I was nervous. I was like, "Whoo, I'm kind of scared." But I'm sitting here and I'm glad I did it. And so I just want to say thank you guys again. And as always, if you only learn to do one thing, learn to love yourself. Y'all have a good night.